Project management is a crucial discipline that offers numerous benefits to organization, from gaining competitive advantages to enhancing employment engagement. This presentation today is going to explore the key advantages of implementing effective, and I use the word effective, project management practices and providing actionable tips and or advice for maximizing these benefits. Listen, I understand, as people that are business leaders, it's easy to get so caught up in the day-to-day operation while your vision for the future continues to take a back seat. Effective project management can also help you shift your focus to driving growth, innovation, knowing that your projects are on track and transforming your business. So I have a question. What's holding your business back? Or I should say, why are you holding back from breaking down these silos in organizations and unleashing the full power of project management's full potential? See, the difference between industry leaders and struggling businesses often comes down to how they lead and manage their projects. What if you can consistently deliver projects on time, on budget, watching your team's productivity and morale soar, having the time to focus on strategic growth? I know what you're thinking. ED, this is not possible. It's a reality, though, for businesses that have unlocked the true power of modern project management. So if you're tired of firefighting and running behind and you want to start leading, today's episode is truly for you. Let's get into today's content. The power of project management. This is going to be an interesting one, family, because of the fact of I know the power of project management. You mind if I share a quick story? I was assisting a leader and assisting them as far as they wanted to get their projects to be more efficient as far as their delivery. And so he gave me a very daunting task and said, "Hey, I want you to go around to all the different departments that we will work with from a cross functional standpoint and get their requirements." Now, keep in mind, I'm the new guy. I don't know anybody, but I took it as a challenge because what he probably didn't realize what he was doing for me was allowing me to create these connections. This is something I always share and talk about in each of the episodes of connecting with your stakeholders. And what I ended up doing is just scheduling one-on-ones to understand what were their pain points, what didn't you like, what did you like about the delivery of projects. So point number one is competitive advantage. See, I broke this down into four pieces: efficiency, project delivery, benchmarking, time to market, and cost effectiveness. So efficient project delivery. When you have project deliverers that gives business an edge over competitors, you're allowing their time to market and their cost effectiveness to really be truly improved. And it gives them a way to measure. A lot of times when you're not leading a project, you sometimes have challenges of measuring it. Is this effective? And then even if you're measuring it, then you have a challenge of, okay, do we pivot? So when it comes to benchmarking, that goes in line with what I was saying there. The project management practices really is benchmarking against industry standards and continuously to improve. It's all about improvement. How do we get better? I know that the author of Atomic Habits, and he's slipping my mind right now, but he talked about getting 1% better. And that's one thing about project management that I love is it's about getting a percent or more better, because now you have results from benchmarking, and then it gives you a chance to transition in your time to market. Listen, speed to market is very key, especially if you work in the software realm, software as a product, because the quicker you're able to get feedback from your customers and to find out, okay, where do we start? Where do we tweak? What we gave them 300 features, but now they're saying that's just too much. We only need these 10. Okay, how do we condense this down? And this may even be more cost effective, because what ends up happening is it allows you to watch this, family, allocate resources in which allows you to reduce your overall call. And I'm not saying reduce your resources instead just because you're trying to save money, but you're able to understand, okay, we're going to need these 10 resources for this particular part of the project. And then maybe the second half of the project, we're going to have to bring in more because because of the delivery portion of it. Let's move on to point number two: increased accountability. Listen, the first time, I don't know if it was the first time or what, and I'm laughing because out of these 4 points, enforce accountability. One of the things I love about being a project manager is there's a challenge when you have executives involved. You're like, what do you mean there's a challenge? Because you have to go and have what some would deem as a uncomfortable conversation, meaning, hey, you said that you were going to complete this on this date, and I'm following up with you. I've sent you various follow-up emails, and now I'm scheduling a one-on-one to check in to see what happened. And a lot of times project managers are uncomfortable going into those situations because, again, this is an executive, this is your manager's manager at times, depending on where you're at in the corporate blueprint, or just the blueprint in general with regards to organizational charts. And so a lot of times project managers, I've talked to some, man, yeah, I had to go talk to the CIO. He was supposed to deliver this particular task, which supports these other tasks, and he just didn't deliver it. And he said, I had to have a very uncomfortable one-on-one. And that's one of the things what project managers bring to the table is going to have those uncomfortable, but enforcing accountability, because we have already set, based on what the project is, we've set clear goals. We set a clear, measurable goal for each team member to establish individual responsibility. So the CIO knows, hey, I this is my task. This is the date it's due. You've sent me follow-up emails. You ping me in different instant messages. There's no excuse. You're right. I should be delivering. And that goes into the next point, number three, of regular check-ins, of holding these regular check-ins so you can address any particular roadblocks or challenges that may come about. Because a lot of times, again, executive may be busy dealing with something else and they didn't recall. I'm not saying that's an excuse. I'm saying this is what can tend to happen. But when they take ownership of it, and this is what project managers bring, being able to hold them accountable by taking ownership of the outcome. This encourages team members also to take ownership of their task, which in return provides better outcomes. Enhancing employment engagement and retention. There's three components here that I look at: is clear goals, recognition, and skill development. Clear goals, when they're well managed, it provides a clear understanding. It gives an employee a sense of purpose and direction. You always hear about that term quiet quitting, and people are quiet quitting because uh, some of the reasons, I'll say one or two of the reasons, probably a plethora of reasons, but is because they don't have a clear sense of purpose and direction. And when you have a clear sense of, I think Napoleon Hill entitled it definite of purpose. When you have a definite of purpose, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is what is done. And this what it aligns with on a bigger scale from an organizational standpoint. And then recognition, or being recognized for their achievement, it boosts morale and motivation among the team. So sometimes I believe that we overcomplicate this by saying, oh, it has to be about money. Yeah, money is nice. But if you're giving me a spotlight, you're shining the spotlight on me, on that team member, what tends to happen is it opens up doors for that particular team member to be able to advance in the organization, because they're being recognized and other people are going to say, oh, we want to work with this person, or we need to get this person promoted. And then skill development, opportunities for skill development, it contributes to higher employee engagement and retention. I've told you this before. I started watching where a lot of the skill development, and I'm not talking about on the job training, I'm talking about taking a course or going to a seminar. Had I started seeing that slim down a little bit, because of the fact of the concern of the investment that was being made in the employee. Will they stick around? If you are investing in this employee, yeah, there's a shot that they may not stick around, but there's also a chance that they won't be able to develop and deliver on the things that they need to do. And it helps with the engagement and retention. Here's an actionable advice I want to give you. Implement a skill development program within project team and regularly recognize and celebrate project milestones and success. I heard Ray Lewis say this. He was like, I don't know what he used as for the people that party, but he said, these people party, but kings celebrate. And that has always stuck with me because a lot of times we want to party instead of celebrate. And celebrate to me means we're celebrating these big milestones that we've achieved or just milestones in general, because milestones should be a collection of all your collection of certain tasks that gives you your particular milestone. Breaking down organizational silos. What are the biggest things that if you get into this thing that I love, that I definitely hope you fall in love with, called project management, you're going to be tasked with breaking down these silos. It fosters collaboration when you can break down these silos. You'll be leading a project and you'll say, where we're at on this. I'm waiting on the network team to deliver their piece. And I'm like, okay, have you reached out to the network team? No. What do you mean you haven't reached out to the network team? And I was like, okay, don't even worry about it. This is what I'm here for. Let me get you guys connected. So you force, or I should say, foster would be a better word, of fostering collaboration so you can break down these departmental barriers. Because a lot of times you'll notice people will get stuck in their own little silo, and this hinders their efficiency and innovation. And then cross-functional team, implementing cross-functional project teams to promote diverse perspective and skills. This is why I love project management, because when you get a call of all these different cross-functional teams, they may talk about how they solved, or they will talk about how they solved their particular problem. And there's bits and pieces, or even the whole solution you can leverage for the problem that you're up against. And then departmental meetings, establishing a regular interdepartmental meeting. Again, it promotes collaboration. And the biggest key is knowledge sharing. When you're doing this, it brings people closer. And that's why it's always interesting at the end of the project, why you see how everybody finally started gelling together and it's, oh, it's over with already. All right, let's move into the next point. Alleviating pressure on functional managers. Project managers step in and handle the day-to-day coordination of everything related to that project activity, and even things that may not even be their role. They come in and really drive that particular project and don't make excuses. I'm talking about my exceptional project manager and say, oh, that's not my job, that's not my role. But they step in and fill the gaps where they have the skill set to fill the particular gaps. And this allows the functional manager to really keep the main thing, and that's the strategic goals in the departmental vision, which helps the department actually grow and prosper. And then there's a clear division of responsibility, clearly defining and communicating the vision of responsibility between project managers and functional managers ensures a smooth operation. One of my things is, hey, if you give me this project, I ask that you get out my way and let me do what I need to do. I will make sure everything is communicated from you, from risks to issues. If I have challenges or conflicts, these are discussions we're going to have anyway during our one-on-one meetings. So you will never be blindsided by anything that is going on this project, that if I'm made aware of it, you will know firsthand. But I need the autonomy to operate in a strategic focus, I should say, which takes us to the next point. Because when you allow me to operate in that way and you're not getting in the way, I can see you giving me consultation. But I love what Steve Jobs talks about. He talks about when he talked about, hey, when I hire somebody, I'm hiring them to do the thinking. I'm not hiring them for me to do the thinking for them. I like that, because a lot of times you'll have leaders or managers that want to try and control that piece because they're giving up something that maybe they would have been leading if they didn't have a project manager in place. Next point, challenging the status quo. Oh, one of my biggest pet peeves that I get so irritated with it. It just it's I don't even know how to describe the frustration that I get, family. So yes, I get frustrated. I'm being very transparent with you, but I get frustrated because of the fact of that for one moment, when you ask somebody, just test it out. Ask them what if they're doing something, ask them why they're doing it that way. If they can't explain to you why they're doing a particular process or procedure a particular way, we got an issue. Because what tends to happen is that they're just doing it because that's the way it was done previously. That doesn't mean it's correct. That doesn't mean it's accurate. There may be a better way, a more efficient way to do it. So project managers often bring fresh perspectives and questioning and improving established processes and methodology. Then process audits. What project managers do is conduct regular process audits to identify areas of improvement. If you're not doing this on your project, you need to start doing it because it's going to help you on the next project that you lead. And then finding innovative solutions. When you look for innovation of solutions, you're looking to find ways that you can stand out and drive the organizational growth. Next point, facilitating knowledge transfer. One of the things that I learned along this journey is that when people would leave, knowledge transfer wouldn't be stored in a appropriate place that you can extract it. And so that's why, as part of when you're leading a project, maintaining a lessons learned register, it helps the next person that whether they want to re-examine the project or if they're creating if someone is creating a new project, you should be wanting to help your fellow project manager as well as the organization because this is what they brought you on for. So project managers play a key role in capturing that knowledge within the organization. And then the biggest thing, you already know what I'm about to say, documentation beats conversation. So documenting processes, whether it's lessons learned, best practices, project managers provide valuable insight. And a lot of times your project team will share things with you that they may not share with someone else. And it's all because you're asking the right question. You're in the trenches with them. And so they're giving that information to you because they're like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. I probably should tell you how I did X, Y, and Z. And then applying insight, having the ability to capture knowledge is, like I said, capture knowledge helps for future projects, improving overall organizational efficiency. Knowledge repository. I'm so big on this, whether using a SharePoint, share file, box, you name the Dropbox, you name the particular cloud, I should say the cloud storage. I'm big on this because it's easier for everyone to extract. Now, I will put a caveat on that. There may be certain documents that you don't allow people to access, but the ones that they can, you still want to keep those in place. And the ones that we don't want them to access, we still want to have someone that is backing us up, whether that's your direct manager or the project sponsor that has full access to everything, just in case if you decide to leave the organization. Enhancing stakeholder engagement. I always tell you guys that frustration comes from a lack of expectation. Project managers manage expectations. They ensure all voices are heard. That doesn't mean, even though I'm listening and hearing what you're saying, that we're going to do it, but I'm going to document it so we have a understanding. And you're seeing as being documented. If we have an opportunity to leverage what you recommended, then we will. Normally, you get higher engagement. Effective stakeholder management leads to higher levels of engagement and support for the project. They know that you're supporting them. And if you're not, then you need to because this is whether it's your stakeholder or your project team. This is very important. Creating a stakeholder engagement plan. Stakeholder engagement plan outlines the how and when you will communicate to each stakeholder group. And if anything changes, you need to be updating that artifact to ensure everyone is on board. And my favorite is addressing concerns. I don't know why a lot of project managers don't like addressing concerns or dealing with that conflict. I'm not saying all of them because that would not make sense. But there are some project managers that don't want to deal with the conflict and addressing concerns. No, I don't want my time wasted, but I will address your concerns. And there's going to be things that I'm going to have you do, meaning be prepared when you come to the meeting to discuss what your concerns are. So we're not just all over the place and it's not an effective meeting because I do believe you probably have other things that are going on. So having the ability to address your project, your stakeholders' concerns and needs is going to be a requirement. Strategic alignment and objectivity. There's 3 points I want to cover here. Strategic alignment. Project managers ensure that the project aligns with the overall strategic goal. And this makes sure that what we're doing is aligning with what the executives set for the year. Maintaining objectivity. Project manager doesn't have any direct reports a lot of times, and they have a very unbiased look at how things are done. So their decision making is much more clear because there's no really favoritism. It's just this is the work, this was needs to be done, and this is how we're moving forward. So it's more based on merit, the work that you're providing. And then the last and final point is focus on deliverables. Listen, the discussions and evaluations should be on the deliverables and the outcomes, whether that, hey, this individual performance, this is how you maintain objectivity, regulatory compliance, and decision making. When you are leading a project, there are going to be regulatory compliance that may be aligned with your project that you need to stay up on. You may need to engage your compliance department. You may need to engage legal. And so you can understand that it checks, is within line of the project that you're leading. And then but better decision making. Project managers normally, the majority of the time, make their decisions off of the data, and this gives them a more informed decision making, which reduces the risk associated with trying to have guesswork. And then, of course, using a dashboard to check to track those KPIs or key performance indicator when they're making those particular decisions. Family, here's my 3 closing remarks, and I appreciate you taking the time today. My first closing remark is breaking down silos. Again, one of the biggest things, if you want to have a change, if you want your name to ring within the organization, have the ability to break down silos, create, foster, and push and encourage cross functional collaboration. My next thing, increase accountability. You have the ability to enforce accountability. Doesn't matter who the person, what their rank is in the organization. And this is very important because a lot of times what can happen is because of your position, as you feel like, oh, I'm not an executive, I can't go and talk to an executive about something that they promised that they were going to deliver on X amount of date. No, this sets you up to have those conversations, which also gives you visibility and also gives them a chance to know who you are as the project manager. And the last and final one, which I think is the most important one out of all of these, is the competitive advantage. In these days and times, speed is everything when it comes to time to market. So the faster with quality that you can get a particular product out into the market, the faster that you can get feedback back. Family, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I go by the name AD. If you have not yet, pick up the Magnetic Project Manager. You can find it at all your bookstores, Amazon, Barnes and Nobles. I truly appreciate you giving me opportunity to deliver today's episode. Until next time.